Welcome back to the Final Fantasy Tactics All Oracles Challenge, being recorded in late December of 2021. We are heading to a much more interesting battle today, the Goug Machine City. This is, I think it's called Slums in Goug. This is a much more interesting fight, as I said. There's a lot of interesting challenges, especially for a party like this. This one took a few attempts to really get this one right, and you'll see I have to play this one very, very safely because we have a lot of disadvantages. We have some numerical disadvantages. We have some abilities of some of the other enemies that can completely wreck a party like ours, particularly the Thief and the Steel Heart ability. That one is brutal with this one because there are 2 male thieves in this fight, and I have 4 female casters back there. And the thieves can move quickly. They have a long range of motion, and that is a ranged attack also with no charge. And so things can really get out of hand fast. And it is interesting. While we watch this little cutscene, I'll talk about some of the things that happen in other roles of this fight. So Charm was a huge one. Steel Heart was really difficult to remove, and particularly because we have sticks as weapons in this fight. I actually considered coming in here with no weapons, with no sticks, because knocking a character out of charm status, you have to do some kind of physical damage to them. So our choices on that are a physical attack, or actually a life drain will do it as well. So attacking with the stick, because our levels are artificially high for this part of the game, we've done some grinding, and the sticks are just good weapons. You can really, you can take out maybe half or more of one of these characters' hit points with a stick attack to knock them out of charm status. So it's pretty dicey there because you're wasting an action and you're harming yourselves quite a bit. So I considered coming in with no weapons, but that just wasn't going to work out for us because eventually we do kind of run out of gas in terms of MP here. Even with move MP up, it's hard for us to maintain that when we're doing as much casting as we have to here for this fight. So Mustadio runs up there, don't act on the thief. That's actually really, really solid. I love that. Mustadio is an engineer again, even though he was a chemist when we last had him in our party. He comes back as an engineer, and he comes back with very little equipped. I don't even remember what he has. He's got no weapon, and I don't know what he has for armor. So this is the strategy here. We're going to get Ramza charging a sleep. We're looking at that on that thief. I'm trying to just count some tiles and figure out what to do. Now, that thief has already moved, so that's actually a good thing that the thieves went first there, because I can do a long charging spell like sleep, and everyone else will get a turn, but since those thieves have already gone, they will not get a turn. So here's where I'm checking everybody's stuff. They've got the wizard outfits. Wish we had access to that. We do not as of just yet. I think it's right after this fight that we do get access to that when we go to the next trade city. Same with wizard robe. We don't have access to those either, unfortunately, just yet. So we have 2 summoners, and I'm just checking everybody's secondary abilities and what their equipment is, particularly the summoners. The summoners obviously will pose a huge problem. So it's unlucky that we've got 4 characters right there that we need to prioritize neutralizing. The thieves, because they can steal heart on us and turn one of our own into a killing machine. And then the summoners, of course, once they come up and if we're bunched up, they can really wreck this party very quickly. So you can see in this first round here, I'm having everybody else just wait. I want those enemies to come up to me. And I'm also checking the archers, because if they have a longbow, they can arc the longbow over all of these terrain. If they have a crossbow, then they have to get line of sight. So you can see this archer here has more of a disadvantage because of her crossbow. She has to kind of work around the terrain and get line of sight. The one that's on top there is going to have really solid range with her longbow. Now, this battle was the first time where that summoner who just moved last there did what he did, where he moved up really close to us, but not quite in range of targeting a summon, or at least one that he thought was worth casting. He may have been able to get one of us with the summon. I'm not sure why he chose not to do anything, but he did. He chose not to do anything, and he moved right up into range of our attack. So we have to get a little bit aggressive to hit him, but I needed to do that because if we waited again, he would then be able to move and get us all. So I'm checking to see what's the best thing to do. We have good compatibility, and it looks like high faith there on the summoner. So that is helpful with charging Petrify. And I was also checking to see if anybody had item or the basic skill for healing silence and for maybe throwing a soft on somebody. So here I'm charging, I think, a Petrify and a Silence on that one summoner. And yes, I believe it is worth using a couple of actions on that one character, and we'll see if we need to do another one here. So Life Drain is thankfully a shorter charging one, so it's a nicer one to pull out. Looks like she's trying to decide what to do based on the charge timing. It looks like I'm going to double charge Silence on that summoner. Probably a good plan, friends. Probably a good plan. And Ramza's Sleep unfortunately missed on the Thief. That was a sometimes proposition anyway. Sometimes it landed, sometimes not, of course. And Sleep was not as huge. Don't Act is another really good one to put on there. Sleep is just one that requires the enemies to use an action, and Sleep also locks them in place, which would be nice if we had slept that Thief and then locked him in place, and nobody decided to go out and attack him. That'd be fine. So here the Thief decides to steal from us, so I'm happy about that. I'm not sure what the Thief stole. He could have moved up and tried to steal Heart on that charging Oracle right there. But as it was, looks like he just stole our... Fine, okay. Stole our armor, that's fine. So the Wizard Mantles we're using here, this is a change-up. The Wizard Mantles are to help us dodge some incoming damage. When I first came in here, I kept my standard set of gear with the Battle Boots, and it just wasn't worth that extra move with all of the damage we were taking and needed to avoid with these guys. So it was helpful for us to switch to the Mantles because we can dodge magic that's coming in, and we can dodge some of those physical attacks that from the archers are shooting us with bows constantly, and the Thief there with a knife attack. So it's nice for that. Now here, this is unfortunate. There is the basic skill Heal right there, removing the Silence status from that summoner. But I don't believe Heal can remove Petrify status. Now, we do have defense up, which is why the bows are not doing as much damage to us, and I'm happy about that as well. And bows, at this point, they can also have some of those elemental bows that will cast a spell there, so that the Mantles can help you dodge the incoming bow attack, but they can also help you dodge the magic that comes after it, because you've got magic dodge as well. So I'm switching between Mantles and the movement boots in these fights, just based on... What's our numerical advantage or disadvantage? If we need to dodge some incoming hits, is that going to be better for us to have the Mantles on? So here we're trying Paralyze on that Thief because I do not want that Thief to be using Steel Heart on our characters. And so for this instance, Paralyze is going to be better. It's less MP, it's faster charging than Sleep by a little bit, and it will help us dodge becoming landmines to ourselves. One summoner is taken care of. Everyone's still on their feet. And, you know, I've talked about this before. The challenge in doing these kinds of runs is not necessarily just winning the battles. It's keeping everybody alive when you don't have access to any kind of reviving items at all or abilities. When nobody can have item, not even one character can have item as a secondary ability, it's very difficult sometimes. Especially when you have things like summoners that can do a big chunk of damage to a lot of characters, and then an archer can follow up a summon with a bow shot to take them out before you can heal themselves. Because these guys can recover their hit points with Life Drain. But the first few attempts on this one, they would have been winnable. I could have finished them by just going into YOLO mode and petrifying all of those characters, but I would have lost one of the characters that I worked so hard to level up. So the challenge is also you have to keep all of your characters on their feet for the entire fight, or almost the entire fight. Once somebody goes down with this party, you have to go into hard YOLO mode and just kind of charge up there and try to petrify everybody and hope that you land a series of low percentage shots. Doesn't work very often, but it can. Okay, so good. That Thief is paralyzed for a little while. And I don't believe that the heal status has brought a Don't Act character. I actually haven't looked up what all heal can do. I've never really seen heal in action in any of these games except in this one. I've seen it pop up randomly, and it seems like they use it most of the time for silence, as you saw. And sometimes it can be really annoying because you will have just landed silence on a character, and then someone will heal them of silence, and then the previously silent character will get a turn immediately after they've been healed of silence. So all of your hard work is for naught there. So the archer is now sleeping. The archer is going to need a physical attack to wake up, unless we land the petrify, and we do. So this is, I'd say this is above average luck, at least for observation, as I'm watching this battle after recording it a few attempts. So the landing a couple petrifies early is really good. It stops a lot of damage from coming in, although that is the crossbow archer, not the longbow archer. So it's going to actually cut less damage than I'd like it to be cutting. Because again, that's the one that needs line of sight. That archer up there, while she has the height advantage, she can access pretty much the entire battlefield. Now, the reason that last bow shot was a 70% chance to hit is because of the mantle there that he was wearing. And so I'm looking to see how aggressive I can get here. I'm not really bunched together, so I can get a little bit aggressive moving characters up, because we are going to have to start engaging these guys more. Otherwise, the archers, that archer herself will start to just wear us down. If we kind of just sit back and wait, and the enemies don't come up to engage us as quickly as we need them to, that archer could just kind of take everybody out one plink at a time. So I do need to start engaging these guys. And I'm just checking the percentage on everything here, and I'm looking at where everyone's getting turns. I have to get used to where the names are. Some days you'll see me have to double-check a name. But usually, a couple of rounds into a battle, I understand who has which kind of name, or which names are which important characters. Usually it's the fast ones you gotta watch out for, the thieves and your archers. And so I'm deciding if I should move or not, because moving here, of course, gets us a bonus in MP. And I think it was really nice that I charged that spell, because it maybe drew him up to attack instead of doing Steel Heart on us. Maybe, I'm not sure, but because we were charging, I think he saw that he could do more damage with a physical attack than normal, and maybe that's why he decided to go with the route he did. So Rams is going to move into stick range, and then we're going to check and see what our spells can do. And the backup is going to be the stick. So we're going to look at Petrify. And I have to do some thinking, have to do some deciding. And we're looking at the stick. I do love that we have the sticks right here, and we do go for the stick swing and miss, unfortunately. It was a little bit better chance to hit than Petrify. Probably could have gone for the Petrify instead, but Ramza also, by moving and not casting a spell, gets some net gain in MP. So that is one reason to consider using the stick more often, is that right now at this point of the game, we don't have quite high enough MP to move and gain one of the primary spells from the Oracle, like Petrify or Life Drain. Those both take 16. We're getting 9 or 10. So even if you move and cast, you're still negative a little bit for MP. The only one that we can gain back exactly is Paralyze. We can gain that back exactly, because that one's 10. But Sleep is 24. So these kind of start to add up as the fight wears on, when you're kind of in the red turn after turn after turn. So the stick here is a little bit less damage. She does not quite the same attack power as Ramza, because obviously these are magely characters, not meant to be doing as much damage with their physical attacks. We are going to go for the Life Drain here, though, and that does indeed miss as well, so unfortunate. So luck was good to get things started, but now it's starting to slow down on us a little bit. And that summoner is still staying back. Not quite sure what's going on with that summoner's thinking. I think maybe because that summoner has Defend as a secondary skill, maybe that summoner is just deciding that Defend is the way to go. Maybe if that summoner had another ability there, the summoner might be coming up and using it more, but I'm maybe just very fortunate that summoner has Defend. Finally, we get that Thief petrified, and that is good news for us. So now we've got just 3 enemies remaining. That thief's moving up, and I want to see if Ramza can quite access that thief. Not quite. So Ramza is going to have to move into range to take a swing at that thief if he wants to go for it. We could also choose here in this instance, we could choose to back up a little bit and let them come to us. Now that we've got the primary targets petrified, who is up with us, we could back up and see who steps up next. But at this point in the battle, I determined that it is safe enough for us to come up a little bit and engage, especially because Ramza can pick up some hit points from that thief. Now, he may end up in the red if he stands there by himself, because the archer can hit him for about 20, and the thief can do a physical attack on him as well for a little bit more than that. So even landing the life drain was not guaranteed. But here we're going to see if we can incapacitate one of those characters, because we have everybody moving up here. That's why I checked the turn order before, because I saw we had all of us going here, so we could get some of those kind of slow down spells like Paralyze and Sleep going on these guys first. So I'm trying to decide between Paralyze and Sleep. Sleep is more MP. It's a little bit more long-lasting if left alone, if you land it, but Sleep can be ended with a physical attack. So like that summoner, for example, if there's a sleeping thief, the summoner may just walk up and whack the thief with the whatever weapon the summoner has, whatever rod the summoner happens to have. And so I'm looking at what the best movement options are. Because those boots are gone, we're back to 3 move with our characters because we're using the mantles. So that summoner, that oracle, because of where she was, she's going to like loop around the back side of the building there. She's not going to try to go over the main central building on our side. So that's really nice that we landed at least the 1 sleep. If we get another one, it'll be extra awesome. Unfortunately, we don't land that second one, but the thief is taken out. The archer can move, and then she can shoot, so it's no problem, but she's got lots of targets to choose from. It's not going to all be centered on Ramza there. And I had determined that, look at that, interesting, casting Moogle on the thief. But I determined that I didn't think the summoner could move up and get all of us with the summon. He still maybe could have gotten a couple of us with a summon spell, and that's okay. At this point in the fight, I determined that was okay. Maybe that wasn't okay, but so anyway, now that summoner is kind of back into the mix. So I'm going to move Ramza up to split him up from the other party members. We're going to separate and be apart, but also we're going to try to take that summoner out, or at least incapacitate the summoner from casting. We could use silence or sleep or don't act. Either one of those would be fine. So now that the archer has moved up to the top of that building, she's now in range of my other oracle who's coming around the back side here. So that's why I'm looking at all of my options to see what I want to do with that archer. See if I can slow her down some way. So even in this last chapter of the fight, I'm still playing it a little bit on the safe side. And the reason that you can see it, if you know this game and how movement works, you know that the jump value is part of it too. So vertical movement can give you a penalty on your horizontal movement as well. That's why she's going around instead of trying to go straight up and over the church there. She can cover more tiles going around on the flat than she can trying to jump up that main part. So we have pretty much all the characters who are remaining, all the enemies remaining are in range of all of our oracles. So now it's just about landing the spells that we need to land at this point. So we're moving everybody up and just we're throwing a lot of petrify attempts. We're trying to slow down with don't act and sleep and all that. So we're just going to see in this final chapter if we can just take these guys out one at a time. Reaching the end game of this battle. There is a petrified thief who's been healed of don't act. Very good. Gotta love that. The summoner is sleeping. And let's see if we can petrify this archer finally. Nope. And this is what you'll see with oracles. A lot of luck-based rolls. And even in less relevant parts of the battle like this, you can run into problems like that. Okay, so anyway, she's going to run up. We've got 2 characters left. They're both sleeping, and we can attempt as many petrifies on them as we care to while they're sleeping. The CT on that thief right there is 80. I've talked about this before, but a sleeping character does not reset their CT. So the thief, if the thief wakes up, the thief is going to get a turn very quickly. So I'm trying not to wake them up. The CT of the summoner is 46 out of 100. When your CT reaches 100, that's when you get a turn. So as the timer ticks up, that's what allows you to get turns. If you move and act in a turn, your CT gets reset to 0 and has to tick up to 100. If you just do one of those things, your CT doesn't get reset to 0. It gets back set to 40 or 60, I believe. So, but anyway, that knight is a CT of 80, or the thief, CT of 80. That means that it's only 20 time ticks away. So probably if we woke that thief up with a physical attack, the thief would probably get a turn right away or very quickly. So I really don't want that thief waking up. We're just going to keep the petrify attempts going. They're all pretty low percentage here. And generally that tends to happen because it's a self-selecting thing. Early in the fight, when I have choices on who to target for things like petrify, I'm going after, if I have a choice, the one who has a higher chance of landing petrify. So the ones that have lower faith or worse compatibilities with the characters I have, generally I tend to wait on them a little bit more. So I haven't targeted them as much if I have a choice. And so here we're going to see a handful of missed petrifies here, even some that are a pretty high chance to land. It's unfortunate. But I don't want to get too aggressive because if I woke that thief up, we might be dealing with a steel heart situation and then having to attack our own characters. Like that was an 83% chance to hit. Attack. And the thief has 87, and actually this is where the Moogle kind of comes into play here, because if the summoner had not landed that Moogle, that thief would be within just 1 stick attack from Ramza, especially, who I think his base damage is 66. So without that Moogle, the thief would have been within easy range of just taking him out with 1 stick attack, which can be 100% on a sleeping character. But as it is, because of that, we need to do these petrifies to try to be safe about it. So you're just going to see a lot of charging. A lot of charging, a lot of charging, a lot of charging. And we're actually moving here just to pick up MP because we are running low on MP. And also, it doesn't really matter when all the enemies are asleep. Yeah, I don't mind taking a CT penalty because, you know, enemies are not going to be getting turns anyway. So there may be a few more battles that look like this. So there is, I think that's the second 83% chance petrify that is missed on that one thief. I think that's the second one. There we go. So we finally got petrify to land on the thief, and we'll see if we can get this to go on the summoner. The summoner is actually maybe a little bit better one to allow to wake up if we really wanted to, or if we really got frustrated. Be like, fine, just wake up, cast a Shiva on us, fine, whatever. You can't take us all out in one shot. So that's why I'm actually right there moving to silence. This is because I think at this point I'm getting frustrated in this fight. And I'm like, fine, let's go silence. And then if we land silence, then we'll go ahead and wake you up with our sticks. Because Petrify just was not doing it. So it was trying, I think that was an attempt on the thief. So here's the silence right there, and silence does land on the summoner. So here's where Ramza says, "Fine, you're gonna be that way. We'll silence you, and then we'll just go at you with our sticks." Now, as it is, it looks like it didn't necessarily have to do that because his CT was a little bit lower. I didn't necessarily have to do silence right there. I could have just gone stick. But as it is anyway, Mustadio is back up, and on we go. That was a fun battle. If you like these videos, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, make a comment, and hit me up on Twitter where I'm also active _ATE. We'll see you next time.